Key takeaways from the Patriots-Packers preseason matchup and a positive update on Pat's cornerback Isaiah Bolden. Stick around for Mailbag Monday because you're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Welcome to the Locked On Patriots podcast. We are a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I am your host, Mike Debate, and I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me on the Bird app, on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to be calling it these days, at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. And today's podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOn today to get 10% off your first month. And Patriots fans, thank you for joining me here today on the pod. Hope you all had an amazing weekend. And a special shout out, as always, to all of you Locked On everydayers out there. Those of you who make Locked On Patriots possible, unending appreciation to you. I'm always honored and always humbled by your support. And Pats fans, today on the pod, it is hashtag Mailbag Monday, and we've got some great thought-provoking questions breaking down the New England Patriots and Green Bay Packers matchup Saturday night at Lambeau Field. Of course, we do have an update on Pat's cornerback Isaiah Bolden, and also whether Saturday night's game might be a further indication that the Patriots might not be done adding or subtracting from this roster before final roster cutdowns next week on August 29th. So all of that Pats coverage needs another voice. And what better way to kick off Mailbag Monday than make it a hashtag Locked On Murph Monday? That's right, the Green King of Sting, the Monster Master of Disaster, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2Gsports.com. And Murph's going to pop in just a moment to help me open up the Locked On Patriots mailbag. And you know something, without further ado, let's welcome him in. Thank you for coming to me in friendship, and thank you for joining me today on hashtag Mailbag Monday. Don Murph.
Oh, always my pleasure, Michael. Always my pleasure, Michael. Mondays is this is the reason I look forward to Monday.
Absolutely.
Really, there's no other reason to get out of bed. There's no Monday Night Football. There's no, can't even get out of bed for Monday Night Football these days. But
I know.
Mailbag Monday and a chance to sit down here and talk a little Patriots with you, that'll get me up every week.
Absolutely. And you know what? There is no better place to be on Monday than here on Locked On Patriots because the mailbag is always robust with amazing questions. And once again, folks, we got a couple of great ones for you to share today that made the cut that really are worthy of entire segments, Murph. And we're going to dedicate the time and the energy that they so richly deserve. But ordinarily, here on a Monday, the New England Patriots earning their first preseason victory, Murph, that'd be the lead storyline taken from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and the Patriots' 21-17 victory over the Green Bay Packers. But it really appropriately paled in comparison to the events that unfolded at the end of that game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's the health and the collective concern shown by both sides for Pat's rookie Isaiah Bolden. Of course, folks, we're talking about 10:38 left in the fourth quarter. Isaiah going in for a tackle and unfortunately and inadvertently colliding with the elbow of linebacker Calvin Munson.
Right.
Immediately went to the ground. Isaiah was promptly looked after by the doctors and training staff, immobilized, loaded onto a stretcher, and carted off the field where he would go to a local hospital for observation.
Yep.
Thankfully, Isaiah, after all of the observation, was diagnosed with a concussion. He is still on the mend, but in good spirits, according to Bill Belichick on Monday morning. Murph, a scary moment in Green Bay, and really, I think, as Matthew Slater eloquently put after the game, reminds you of the fragility of life and the secondary nature of football. Obviously, all of our thoughts, our prayers, our best wishes go out to Isaiah and his family right now. Glad to see him on the mend, bud.
Yeah, exactly. All the good karma out to the entire Bolden family. They really dodged a bullet here.
Mm,
I thought he'd run into Munson's thigh at first. How
mm,
that happens. It's football. But no, they made the right decision. They
yeah.
got a little pushback on from some fans about whether or not they made the right decision. No, it's a preseason game, people. They made the right decision. Even an in-season game, they made the right decision. I don't care what you have, down on the game, what bets you put in.
Mhm.
It was the right thing to do.
Yeah, without question. Absolutely the right thing to do. I still, for the life of me, cannot understand how the argument can be made that it
Yeah,
wasn't the right thing to do. And again, I'm glad you mentioned the betting and whatnot. I mean, that is so insignificant compared to the health and well being of a fallen teammate out there. You're not sure what's going on, a lot of uncertainty. You could see the concern in the eyes and on the faces of all his Patriots teammates. And kudos to the Green Bay Packers as well. I thought they handled that situation
yeah.
with class, from Matt LaFleur at the coach to
To the
all of the
fans.
players on the
Oh,
field. This was a matchup that came in with a lot of tensions
yep,
rising, a lot of chippiness. Even before the game, there was a little bit of a dust up at midfield, and
yep,
people were thinking these emotions are going to really spill over into this game. You really saw the NFL as a brotherhood come together at that
yep.
moment. You're definitely proud to see all of the outpouring of support for Isaiah, but glad to see him in a situation where he'll be able to recover, and Patriots will unquestionably give him the time he needs. But a very difficult and very scary situation that could have been
Right.
a lot more horrific than it was.
And you're
So,
right. It was a chippy set of practices that happened in Green Bay. At one point, there was like four fights on four consecutive snaps, I think.
mm,
And
yeah,
that happens. And especially in these joint workouts, you sit there and you get the guys that are on the roster bubble trying to make a freaking an impression on somebody.
mm.
They're hitting at 100% instead of 85, and that tends to tick people off.
Mhm. Yeah, it really does. And, Isaiah was making such a strong case for himself to earn a roster spot, and
Yeah.
all of the great things that he was doing on the field, not just on the field as a cornerback, but also as a kick returner.
Yep.
These things, I think, always have a way of putting things in perspective. And you heard that word used an awful lot from Patriots players post game,
Right.
whether it be Mac Jones or Jalen Mills or Matthew Slater or even Bill Belichick,
Yep.
really understanding what truly is important. And it was the health and well-being of Isaiah Bolden. We were glad to see that cooler heads prevailed, that they were able to come to the agreement to suspend the rest of the game, a preseason game, but a game nonetheless. And also, I think the Patriots making the right decision to suspend 2 days of joint practices
Right.
with the Tennessee Titans, give these players an opportunity to spend time at home.
Cool off.
And yeah, exactly, and regroup, and then be able to go at it and give it a full tilt on
Yep.
Friday night when the Patriots take on the Titans. But Murph, there was a game that was also played, and through
Hmm.
3+ quarters, we did see some things on the field that were promising for the New England Patriots. I'm sure we saw things that were concerning. Let's start with the positives because we're trying to keep things
Okay.
positive here. What were the positive takeaways from you on Saturday night? What did you see from the Patriots that you really enjoyed from a game playing perspective?
From a game playing perspective, I like the way Mac Jones went out there and handled his business. He looked
Mm,
much better
yeah,
underneath
very good
center
point.
this week, even though he was pressured a little bit. I think he got sacked twice.
Hmm.
But he's going through his progressions. He's using his check down when he needs to. And I like the shots that he took downfield. Unfortunately, they just didn't connect.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the shot to Devontae Parker and
Yeah, come
big
on,
time.
dude.
Well, it's a preseason game. If that were in a regular season game, I think Devontae makes that catch. And you know who else believes that? Devontae Parker himself, who responded to our good mutual friend Taylor Kyles on Twitter, who tweeted out something similar and says, I think Devontae hauls this in if this is regular season, to which he said facts. So I think that Devontae
Yeah,
right now understands that.
I
And
needed to see it then. I really did. All right.
yeah, but after what happened to Tyquan Thornton, you really want him injuring himself on a play like that. You know he
True.
can make it. You know
Yeah.
he can make it. The
All right.
fact that he was there in a position to do it, I think proves more. Now, if this is in a regular game setting, I'm right there with you. There is no excuse for him not hauling this in. But in a preseason setting, I'm kind of willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on this.
No, no, no. I'm with there. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And once again, Thornton is banged up and laid up, and look, and there are other guys out here. Keishon Butte had himself a fine game. In the one pass that he was able to connect with. I thought that was fantastic. There are guys moving up the depth chart here, while Thornton is just kind of hanging in limbo and hanging on to a rung. This kid needs to get healthy. He needs to get out there, and just rolling back to Parker. Like he said, in game situation, he probably catches that, but using Parker as a stretch weapon, I'm thinking is not quite the way that you really want to go with him.
Yeah,
Okay, he's a
that's a good point.
contested catch guy. He's an outside the hashtags guy. He runs his digs, he runs his slants really well, and he's just not that individual that they're trying to for lack of personnel put him into, and there are just better ways that he can be used.
I'm glad that you said that, and I think that's absolutely correct because Devontae Parker is not the speed weapon that you
No.
want stretching the field. He's very good at being able to make catches at the point of attack. That's his specialty. He may get you a yard or two afterwards. He's going to fight for it. He's not necessarily going to be that Juju-like threat that's going to give you several yards after the catch, but Devontae can give you a couple, but he's not the guy that you want stretching out there on the field. That's a guy like Tyquan Thornton.
Right.
And one of the things that I think the Patriots are liking from this pair of rookies that they're seeing with Demario Douglas and Keishon Butte is an opportunity for the both of them to kind of play that yin and yang type role that the Patriots are going to, I think, really enjoy this season. I said here on Friday, all Keishon needed to do was go out there, make a couple of catches, prove his worth, and then I thought he was in the driver's seat for proving his worth on the roster. That 42-yard slant from Bailey Zappi, great pass by Bailey.
Great pass
Better
by
catch.
Zappi.
Yeah, absolutely. Really want to give him a lot of credit for that, Butte, as well. I mean, you take him in the slant, you take it 42 yards for the score. That, to me, proves an awful lot about what this kid can do. And his burst after the catch and giving you that extra is something that I think the Patriots are really going to like from him. So, yeah, you're hoping Tyquan's going to get back on the field. We're hearing that it's not extremely serious, that he's week to week, but right now,
same shoulder.
Yeah, only a couple of weeks left. You definitely hope that he gets out there sooner rather than later, unless the Patriots have already seen enough when it comes to him. So,
another thing on the positive side, how about Kendrick Bourne? Whether it was catching passes or throwing blocks, it was immense watching this guy. We've been begging for this. We've been pleading for this. He spent last year in the Clown's doghouse for whatever reason from off the get-go, and we didn't see him last year. The year before, he had a career year, and then we didn't see him last year. But seeing him out there in his element, doing his thing with the number ones, it was really refreshing to see.
Yeah, without question. Absolutely. 3 passes, 34 yards was the stat line on the night. His highlight obviously coming on the 17-yard strike from Mac Jones. That was on a 3rd and 8, folks. And
Not for me, man. That was the block that he threw that sprung Ramondre. Was it Ramondre? Yeah, it was Ramondre. Yeah. It was the block that he threw that sprung Ramondre, man. It was fantastic. Bill eats this stuff up, and this is what was missing last year was that block at the next level, man. Get this kid out there and keep him out there.
Yeah. So, absolutely. And that was his highlight of the night. If you want to talk about what his best catch was, then I think my argument makes a little bit more sense there. 17-yard strike from Jones on a 3rd and 8. Give a lot of credit to Mac, too, because the Mac Jones of old probably would not have thrown this pass. He wouldn't have given that extra time for Kendrick to extend his route a little bit and be able to put himself in position to make that catch. But Kendrick was great in this game, and that block that he threw to Ramondre is textbook, folks. If you're coaching a team, you want to show them that this is how you get the job done, and great stuff for the New England Patriots on the offensive side of the ball. We've talked about the positives in this game. Anything that concerns you walking away from this game for the New England Patriots?
Yeah, we talked last week, it was Friday or Saturday, that what we were looking for in this game, and I didn't get much of what I was looking for in this game. I did not like the play of the defensive front seven at all. I thought it was passive, for lack
Mm,
of a better word, especially the linebacking crew. I thought it was stupid at times, and I did not get that push from from the defensive line that I was looking for. I
mm,
talked about Christian Barmore and how I needed to see him step up and get that push. It didn't happen. All right,
mm.
so that's the first thing I want to touch on. What about you, Michael?
Very good point. Absolutely. And I'm in complete agreement, especially when it comes to defending or adjusting to what I think Green Bay does very well. And that's running zone concepts. The
Right.
outside zone, the split zone. The Patriots did not have an answer for that. And I understand that this is preseason and you're dealing with backups, but this was a situation that plagued the Patriots all night long, from the
Yep.
time that they were playing their starters into the time that they were playing their backups. Luke Musgrave had a very good game,
We spoke about it.
really dominating Josh Uche and
Yep.
Lawrence Guy. And I think Guy had a subpar game by his standards on Thursday night. Give a little credit to Emmanuel Wilson, who I thought ran the ball very
Yep.
well. I thought the Patriots struggled to adjust to him. 63 yards on 15 carries, including that 14-yard rip through a large gap in the
Yeah.
Patriots defensive line. And that goes to your point, Murph. They need to shore that up in the
Right.
next couple of weeks
Set an
because
edge.
Philadelphia is going to exploit that.
Set an edge. It was
Mm,
week 2 of preseason, and I'm screaming set an edge. All right,
mm,
that's I don't want to be doing this all year long. I don't want to keep cutting that key on Friday for them to go back to. And you mentioned the zone concepts. I mean, a lot of the guys struggled in this, not just the front seven, but my man Glue Gonzalez,
mm,
Glue Zales had a little bit of a hiccup there when they were
mm,
when the Patriots were in zone. He did fantastic, and I thought the flag that was thrown at him was really ticky tack, and I'm not
mm.
sure that you would get that during the season, but he had a little bit of trouble in zone.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this is the knock on him coming in from college. Where is he going to be able to translate that into zone? We know how good he is in man-to-man
Quarters.
coverage, and that's really, I think, exactly where you're going to see him coached up a little bit. So, yeah, I think all in all, folks, some offensive and defensive ups and downs for the Patriots in this one. But if you're looking for promise and you're looking for
Yep.
potential, this was a game that I think you can take more positives from than negatives from the field for the
Right.
New England Patriots. And Murph, conspicuous by his absence from this segment, let's talk about the offensive line. Everybody's talking about the offensive line.
We're getting
It's
there.
either dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, or it's everything is wonderful and we're ready to roll. I think virtue lies in the middle a little bit on this one. And I think the offensive line maybe was a little bit better in this game, but there's still a ways to
Yeah.
go. Well, a good friend of ours, a great friend of the program, a contributor here on Locked On Patriots, and a beloved one, seems to feel the same way. And he wants answers. And when Colonel Jessup wants answers, he gets those answers. Actually, it's Kathy that got the answers, folks. But bottom line, Murph and I will be giving the answers to your questions when hashtag Mailbag Monday kicks off right here on
Yep.
Locked On Patriots, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we're faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. Let's face it, folks, we live in complex times, and every choice seems to have a ripple effect. Whether you're dealing with decisions around career, relationships, or anything else, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate your life so that you can move forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on hashtag Mailbag Monday. And the first question of the week was obvious, and it was the most popular question we had by far. What are your takeaways from the Patriots preseason matchup with the Packers? But Murph, one of the takeaways that we did not talk about in the previous segment, even though we talked a lot of offensive, defensive ups and downs, was the offensive line. And I know a lot of people still saw the quarterbacks running for their lives at time. The coverage, especially on the left side, was not as tight as we like to see it. But our good friend Andrew Caraway, who has contributed many times here, has been a guest on these airwaves on Locked On Patriots. Truly one of the great listeners and the great contributors to this program, and a member of the Locked On family. We
Please
love
give him a
Andrew.
follow.
Absolutely. Follow him on Twitter at Caraway6. And he submitted a great question when it comes to the offensive line and the Patriots and what these guys need to bring to the table and what we need to see from them in the coming days leading up to the start of the regular season. And Andrew's question is as follows. The Patriots starting OL will be fine. Actually, he's a little more optimistic than most Patriots fans are on this situation right now. But I think Andrew's onto something here, and we'll get into that in just a moment. I digress, folks. Andrew has major concerns about the depth of this unit. It would be nice to see Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong run behind the ones, because I don't even think Stevenson would have much success behind that putrid second unit. Yeah, there's the negativity we're coming to know and love here in New England. Do the Pats need to go find some OL help? Murph, there's a lot to unpack there. Your specialty is talking about the prowess, the depth, and also the needs of this group of round men that you love to describe. Have at it. In Andrew's estimation, is he on the money, and what do you think this team needs to do to improve?
He is on the money. He's right on the money. They need to go out and find some help for this offensive line. Sidy Sow is not ready to be a starting right tackle in this league. All right. Antonio May needs to seriously go down to the school of dance, the Foxborough School of Dance, to work on his footwork. Maybe we can get him to stop stopping. Okay, because every time this kid goes to punch somebody, his feet stop. Stop that. Stop doing that. Keep your feet moving. I've been telling you this since you were 8 years old. Keep your feet moving. Yeah, there were issues here. They had a really difficult time picking up any stunts this week. I found that, distressing. For even for a group of second stringers, you've got to be able to go out there and pick up the stunts and the picks that you're going to see all year long. And this is the reason that that our quarterbacks were under so much pressure. And yeah, I do think that they need to go out and get a little better in the depth department here. And maybe we'll talk about that in another segment as to, who might be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a funny feeling that we're going to be talking about names that we've discussed here on Locked On Patriots, and maybe a few that we haven't. That's the beauty of talking about a subject like this. But when it comes to O-line fundamentals, once again, I think you're absolutely right on the money. One of the big reasons why, folks, we saw Mac Jones and even Bailey Zappi on Saturday night fall victim to pressure is because you see a lot of collapsed pockets. They're forcing these guys from their comfort zone. That's going to lead to a lot of miscommunication and a lot of difficulty.
The best blockers on this team the other night were J.J. Taylor and the aforementioned Kendrick Bourne.
Absolutely. And JJ, give a little love to JJ.
Yeah, man. How about JJ picking up guys getting passed off? Yep. JJ's smaller than my big toe. And he was out there laying lumber. Loved it.
Yeah,
Ricochet
absolutely.
Rabbit. Loved it.
And showing an ability to run the ball as well. That 88-yard drive from Bailey Zappi in the second half that culminated with Bailey running it in himself. Big part of the reason why the Patriots gained that many yards was Bailey being able to hand the ball off to J.J. Taylor, who did a great job. And credit Bailey for picking up a lot of the seams that he noticed in the Packers offense.
I'll just get lost back here behind this sea of backsides and then find a hole and get through it, man. JJ.
Yep. Absolutely. It's a reason why J.J. Taylor has been around with this team for 4 years, folks. This kid is a very good running back. Don't let the fact that he's ending up on a lot of cutting room floors on 53-man roster projections fool you. Patriots would love to keep this kid around. I think it's a numbers game. And admittedly, He's been on the cutting room floor on a couple of my
Mine.
projections as well, but that's not because we don't like his game. I love J.J.
No.
Taylor and love to watch him. Anytime he gets the opportunity, he takes advantage of it, and you have to respect it. But when it comes to the starting offensive line, breaking down Andrew's question here in terms of parts, starting O-line that we saw on Saturday night, Trent Brown at left tackle.
Yep.
Big upgrade there, no question about it from what we saw a week ago.
Even with the false start, first play,
Yeah.
Trent. Come on. Come on.
We're going to let him have that. But no, I agree with you. I mean, these things need to be shored up. That is one thing you can't let slide even in a preseason game. Trent's got to be better than that, and he will be better than that. So without question, I agree with you on that one. But Antonio Mafi at left guard, once again, not holding his positioning well because of the footwork, folks. These are things that can be taught. Doesn't mean Antonio is a bust. I heard that a few times, over the weekend on social media. Not what it means at all. Just means he needs more training. He's a rookie, and you have to expect that. David Andrews at center, solid as a rock. There's nothing wrong with the center position. Riley Rafe playing right guard a little bit, moving inside. Seems to be I don't want to say a decent change, but
let's see what we got here.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I don't think he played too badly for having to kick into a position he hasn't played much in training camp so far. You mentioned the problems with City So at right tackle. I was a little surprised to see Bill Murray out there playing some tackle, but did not surrender a pressure in this game. PFF reported it. I didn't see it in the first viewing, and then I went back and I took a look, and they're absolutely right on this one, folks. He actually looked pretty good out there. I still don't think you're going to see this regularly, but it's nice to know that they have a Swiss Army knife over there to be able to utilize. Is he moving up the ranks because of his versatility, Murph? Or
maybe a
is
little
this
bit.
just,
maybe a little bit. Nice to be able to play a multitude of positions. And Jason Hines, let's give Jason Hines a little dap here. He had himself a nice evening.
He did. He absolutely did. And he's showing you that type of prowess that he had at LSU and all the great things that we said about him last year when the Patriots picked him up, and having that type of massive lineman that could make a nice bookend with Michael Waynu. Promising news on Waynu. Maybe he will be ready for week 1. We've been saying a pup candidate. Could be posturing by the Patriots. We're not sure yet.
I still think right now, man. I'm going to jump in with our good friend Evan Lazar and really move up the car in the train. Move up a couple of cars into whether or not he might get kicked out to the right tackle.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really bugging me. It's really bugging me right now.
And he's played there. I mean, it's a situation where he wouldn't be in an element that he has not played. He played very well there. Was one of the highest graded tackles at the time that he played the position by Pro Football Focus. So if this has to be the way it is, folks, not necessarily a terrible thing for the Patriots, especially if you want to go with the 5 best guys on your O-line. I think you have to if you're the New England Patriots at this point, Mark.
And that's what it comes down to, is getting the 5 best athletes out there. And like I just said, a second ago, Jason Hines is he's a really, really good run blocker, Michael.
Yeah, he is.
He's really good. And he did well in pass pro the other night. I much better than I've seen in the past. And just keeping him there and whether as a starter or depth and kicking you outside is it's just looking more and more like the way this team is going to have to go.
Yeah, Jason Hines, definitely a stock up type player. Steve and I played a little game of stock up, stock down last week.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I would say Jason Hines definitely helping his cause this week. Maybe Bill Murray popping back over into the stock up side. Andrew Stuber, unfortunately, stock down after this one. Easily bypassed by J.J. Anigbare for the strip sack on Mac Jones.
That was just
those types of moves
awful.
just cannot be tolerated.
The only thing that I can compare that to is North Dallas 40 when you're sitting there in the locker room. Who's Stallings? I mean, they cut Who's Stallings? Junior, you're not getting it done. you're not getting it done.
Absolutely. And we had some high hopes for Stuber, and I still think he's a solid player. And I'm not going to sit there and drag him through the mud because there have been moments during training camp and even during joint practices where he's looked pretty good. But you're not seeing it in a game setting. And unfortunately, that's a practice squad ceiling for a player like him. Who knows? Maybe with a little bit more training at that regard, he can definitely, boost that up. But if you're looking at guys that are trying to make this roster and make an impression, probably stock down on him a little bit. So bottom line, Murph, even with the practice struggles seeping into the game settings, which is what I think is most concerning, New England knows what the problem is. They know they have to work diligently to correct these issues. Start of the regular season is coming up. We heard last week Adrian Clem saying continuity was the key. The moment he said that, I thought of you immediately because you've been pressing this over and over again. That's what the Patriots need to work on this week, folks. Joint practices or no joint practices, they're going to be working on continuity without question here, heading into this final preseason tilt against the Titans on Friday night. Murph, based on what we've talked about when it comes to the offensive line, you would think that the New England Patriots might be at least open to the possibility, maybe adding a little bit of talent or two. As a matter of fact, Andrew's question hints at that. Well, one of our good friends, one of our most valued friends, Murph, submitted a question over the weekend that I think is very poignant, and it sparked some heated debate on the X app or the Bird app or whatever you're calling it these days. I wanted to carry that over into today's show because I think this is an interesting point that a lot of people are wondering. Will the Patriots look to the trade market to make an addition or perhaps a subtraction heading into this coming season? Well, we're going to discuss that question and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel gives you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. If you think that Mac Jones and your New England Patriots are not getting enough love from the sportsbook, put your confidence to the test with FanDuel. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Pats fans, once again, the Count of Murphy Fisto, the legendary Thomas Murphy, takes time out of his busy schedule to join us here and break the wisdom and counsel meter when it comes to wading through the waters of the Monday mailbag. Murph, we talked in the previous segment about the offensive line, the ups, the downs, the needs, and the deficiencies. And a lot of people are thinking that the deficiency along the O-line may tip Bill Belichick's hand in going out and acquiring some talent on this offensive line, or maybe just dipping into the trade market to begin with. And who better to be able to ask a question like this than someone who knows the Patriots books very well, inside out, forwards, backwards. You have a finance question, folks. He is your man to go to. He is the pharaoh of Foxborough Finance, the great and powerful wizard of Benzon himself, the Pats Cat. Miguel chimes in for this week's question, and he wants to know, do you expect a current Patriot to be traded between now and the Eagles game week 1? Do you expect the Patriots to trade for a player? If so, at what position? Murph, this is always a lot of fun. We love playing what ifs here on Locked On Patriots. I know they're 50-50 shots, but the fans seem to like them, and it's always fun to prognosticate. I ask you first, will the Patriots make a trade? And if so, who might they have their eye on prior to the end of training camp / preseason?
All right. Yeah, I think the Patriots are going to make a move either via trade or a free agent on the offensive line. And, I'm going to start off with the trade and the Cleveland Browns, James Hudson has really become a bit irrelevant over there with what some of the moves that Cleveland has made. It's nice to have a good backup swing tackle, but they've got 3 of them. And, let's go out there. We could make that move. I'm not sure what it would cost the Patriots, maybe a 3rd or a 4th round pick. to get that done. But Hudson's somebody who could come in here and possibly start on the right-hand side. Another guy, if we want to keep talking there, Jackson Carman of the Bengals might be available. The Bengals have a lot of options. Orlando Brown Jr. is over there on the left side. Williams is on the right. Leal Collins continues to work his way back to good health. And there's a third guy. So Carman could be available. And of course, there's my old buddy, Jamarco Jones, who's just out there waiting for somebody to call him. The poor kid just wants to go to the prom right now. Somebody pick up the phone and call him. And that by somebody, I mean you, Bill. Pick up the phone and call him.
Yeah.
The second part of the question is as to who might get traded. I mean, Nick Folk is, even a couple of people commented underneath the the question itself. Nick Folk could be on the move, and Dallas would be a great spot for him.
Absolutely. Dallas would be a great spot. Homecoming of sorts for Nick Folk. They're in need of some help at the kicker position. Right. And that the Cowboys aren't afraid to throw some capital around to get what they're looking for, especially when you have guys like Rob Gronkowski declaring that the Cowboys are a Super Bowl favorite. Yeah, all of a sudden, Jerry Jones is starting to feel like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can use that era of good feelings, the Patriots connection, and go out and get a position we really need. So, yeah, keep your eyes on that one, folks.
Right. And after the unfortunate injury to Bolden, I got a little bit deeper because we were both under the impression that, the Patriots were giving Bolden a good look because they were going to depend on him this year. We're really not sure what's going to happen right now with that third, fourth cornerback spot. Never mind, talking about, what Jones is dealing with his court dealings, right now. So I went out and, Andrew Booth Jr. out there in Minnesota is somebody that could be available. The Vikings signed Byron Murphy during free agency, and then they drafted Mekhi Becton with the third round, which was a fantastic pickup. They have that kid Evans that they grabbed last year and has been taking reps with the first team. So, Andrew Booth Jr. is somebody that could come in here and possibly be a good depth piece at cornerback. But with Bolden going down and not really sure when he's going to be coming back after dealing with a concussion, those could be, long-term things. They might want to think about looking at cornerback as well. And then, of course, there's, just to make Claire's day. Okay, let's just make Claire's day. What if we looked at another tight end? I didn't see Washington. Did you notice Washington in the game on Friday night?
I did not. I didn't see his name in the snap count, so I don't believe he did. Yeah.
And while we were talking about that, we brought up almost ad nauseum the lack of blocking from the tight end position in this. But Mo Alley Cox down there in Indianapolis, I know the rivalry is back on and everything, but he might be available and a good depth option for the Patriots. At 6'5", he's a really good red zone target, and he's a fine blocking tight end, and that's something that the Patriots could definitely use.
Yeah, I think the rivalry with any team is back on until the price is right, and then all of a sudden rivalries are put in the drawer. So I think you're right. I think the Patriots still have a move or two that they're going to make. I think if they are going to jettison a player, it will be by trade, and I think that maybe Folk could be a trade piece, somebody that could fetch a little bit of a return for them at this point. But with offensive line, it's so difficult because you look at what's available on the free agent market and you say, like, okay, well, the Patriots might go there and they don't have to surrender anybody. Jamarco Jones is a guy that you've mentioned. Jason Peters now is someone that's on the market that could be a possibility. We've talked about guys like Dalton Risner here on Locked On Patriots before, and players that are still available. And, obviously Taylor Lowen is someone who might be out there. Injury history there as well, but he's a left tackle that obviously the Patriots have a solid player at that position. Would he be interested in coming in and being a backup, tackle or a backup option at that point? Some options, but not a whole lot. So then you look to the trade market, and I'm glad you mentioned Cleveland as a trading partner because this could be something that the Patriots look for. This is obviously their biggest position of need right
Yep.
now. And I think the Pats are going to be open to all possibilities. And corner is very intriguing to me because you look at their depth chart and you say, okay, well, if Isaiah is going to be compromised for a little bit and he starts the
Yep.
season kind of physically unable to perform, or there's issues there. Sean Wade obviously is someone that can play. He's played here for the
Yep.
last couple of years. Does he move up the depth chart? Does Amir Speed get that look now
Yeah.
that that Isaiah was going to get? They look pretty stacked at that, but the Patriots are always looking for veteran talent, players that can come in and automatically make contributions. And I think if a guy like that is available, the Patriots do it. So, Miguel, I think an excellent question.
Yep.
Yeah, I do believe the Patriots will be active looking, and I think you're going to see a new name in here before the end of it all. Whether or not it's by trade or by free agent, that's still a matter of conjecture. But I think they will look to trade, and I think the likelihood of Folk maybe being the guy could be the possibility. I think the Patriots would like to accommodate him and try to maybe see if they can recoup a little bit in the interim.
Jamarco. I want
Yeah.
Jamarco. It's just too easy, and after that, I would really like to see them go and maybe spend a little draft capital and bring James Hudson in here. He even lines up as a tight end in the jumbo package. How you like that, Claire?
Absolutely. And you got to love those guys that are versatile, especially the tight end / lineman types. Always a lot of fun to watch the New England Patriots try to build a roster. And that fun will continue into this year without any question about it.
And that's why we have the cap space that we have.
Absolutely.
There I go again. Okay, we've talked about this many an occasion. Why does Bill go in? It's a routine thing with him to go into the season with $10 or $15 million worth of cap space, so he can work these deals and keep things lively in the discussion.
And it also is no surprise that Miguel is the one asking this question, who knows the cap space better than anyone.
Right.
And again, you go from the source of financial knowledge to the source of all knowledge sitting next to me. And that's exactly why we bring it all together here on Locked On Patriots. So, folks, drop us a line in the comments section below on YouTube, or send us a message, a post, if you will, on the new social media bird/X app that we're dealing with right now. Let us know who you think the Patriots should be targeting, or if they should be targeting anyone. And if there's going to be a new face arriving or an old face departing, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Chime in on already an interesting conversation on the Bird app. Check that out. But what can I say, my friend? You're always there for the handoff, and I appreciate you lending the wisdom and counsel the way only you can here on Locked On Patriots each and every Monday, because the mailbag would not be what it is without it. So before I let you go today, my friend, please let everyone know where they can interact with you and what you have coming this week from the great pen, the great voice of Thomas Murphy.
Well, of course, you can follow me on the Bird app at TMurph207, and you can check out whatever I'm doing over there. Got a nice little Red Sox Yankees piece up this morning. Sweeps. We love sweeps, even if it's to keep you out of last place and to put the Yankees in. We dig the sweeps. Real hard time for the Red Sox coming up. The schedule gets really tough as they're heading into Houston. They've got another matchup with the Dodgers and yada yada yada. A little revenge of the former Red Sox coming in here, and of course, I'll be back here anytime that Michael wants to talk. Right now, One Patriots Place is on hiatus, and we should be back before the season starts, I hope.
Absolutely, folks, and definitely check that out after you've listened to Locked On Patriots, of course, because One Patriots Place is like a second home to me. It takes a near and dear position in my heart, and I can't wait to see it back out on the airwaves, one of the truly great listens. So be sure to subscribe and follow, because you don't want to miss a second of the action when Murph is back on the microphone. But at the same time, don't miss any of the great written work he provides for the Patriots, the Red Sox, anything Boston sports related for E2G Sports. Go ahead and check that out whenever you can. And of course, folks, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your busy Monday/Tuesday morning to spend with us here on Locked On Patriots. You are all truly amazing, especially all you everydayers out there. All of the support you provide to this podcast is truly a heartwarming experience for me, and I can't thank you enough for that. And also, we continue to send our best wishes to the Bolden family and Isaiah's quick and complete recovery. Isaiah, we're pulling for you here on Locked On Patriots.
Right.
So in that vein, folks, continue to stay locked into Locked On Patriots for all the latest information regarding your New England Patriots from Foxborough. On behalf of my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, I am Mike Debate, reminding you to stay safe and to stay well and to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.
More juju. Need more juju.
We do.